Every time I face this boss, I always say, "Stop hitting yourself," like a little Jew.
All right. We're going. We're recording. Let's go.
Hey, Adamant Ditto. What's happening with you?
I'm Adamant Ditto. We're Adamant Ditto.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
Adamant Ditto. Yeah, I was addressing you.
Oh,
guys.
we're addressing us.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We're talking to us.
You guys.
We're all talking about what?
This is a great start.
Let's record some.
Matt, or somebody, you want to explain what we're doing here?
All right. Check this out. We haven't done a podcast in a long time, so we feel we owe you one. So we're going to do probably what's going to be a really long podcast where we sum up all of 2010 in gaming. I mean, everything we played. I mean, obviously, there was a lot of games we couldn't play because we are not a professional gaming site.
We can't buy every single game.
Yeah, we are not a professional gaming site. We don't get
we can only review or talk about games that we bought with money.
So, yeah,
some of us, anyway.
money we don't have.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Anyway, you know, if we didn't play a game, we're not going to talk about it. So there was a lot of great games that came out this year that we're really not going to be talking about.
Like Red Dead Redemption.
Or Bayonetta.
Halo Reach.
Yeah.
Dude.
And I know we're terrible people for not
playing those
loving those games, sucking them off. But we're going to be talking about our favorite games that came out this year.
All right.
Yeah, first up we have Madden 2K11.
The best Madden game.
No. He is, of course, kidding. What we have first is Ace Attorney Investigations Miles Edgeworth.
Ooh.
Now, the Ace Attorney series has been a big favorite of ours, but this has definitely been... It's not their best game, but it's definitely worth looking into if you're an Ace Attorney fan, because everything you love about it is still there, plus it's got all the Edgeworth you can handle.
And it's way better than Apollo Justice.
Yeah, I like the new direction they're going with.
It's
like point and click kind of game.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's cool.
I really enjoyed it. I think it's up there with some of the best. It's not the best, but it was a really fresh new experience, and it was built from the ground up for the DS, which makes it even cooler.
Exactly.
The sprites look a lot better, and the game it's really polished and cool.
Story-wise, it's absolutely fantastic.
Well, yeah, but that's
a Phoenix Wright thing, isn't it? Ace Attorney games always are about story. I don't know a single person who plays them for the gameplay.
That's the
gameplay is story.
That's the cool thing about Investigations, though, was that there was a little more gameplay to it, and in the rest of the Phoenix Wright games, it was just reading and clicking on menus, and there was actually some stuff that you had
wandering and investigation, like you have to go over to the place to investigate something.
Yeah, it was kind of more mechanically fun to play, I thought. Which props to you, Capcom.
Yeah. Good job there, Capcom.
Woo.
Another game that came out early this year that you might have forgot about because it came out in January was Tatsunoko vs. Capcom for the Wii, which was the Wii's answer to Street Fighter 4, because I guess the Wii...
Which also came out this year.
Super Street Fighter 4 came out this year.
I guess...
Oh, my mistake.
I guess the Wii couldn't handle...
It's a different game,
that is Street Fighter 4 or some bullshit. So instead we got Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, which, to start with, it's absolutely amazing that this game ever saw an international release at all.
Yeah, licensing nightmare.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad it did, and I'm really glad I picked it up, because it is a really addicting, really fun fighting game, even though I have no idea who any of the characters are or what they're saying. No idea whatsoever.
I agree. Without this, I actually got this game, and I'm glad I picked it up, because this is actually the first time I've been able to sit down and understand how the versus Capcom fighting system works.
I still don't understand how it works. I just press buttons. But it had a lot of really cool firsts for like the Capcom Versus series. Like Zero is playable, and Frank West, and Beautiful Joe. Like those are all characters that I would have loved to see in like any of the games. And now 2 of the 3, and we're gonna assume all of them, are in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, so I'm really excited for that. I think
Beautiful Joe made it back.
I think we can really thank Tatsunoko
the
vs.
sign
Capcom.
of things to come. Cross your fingers.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm really glad I picked up Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. It was a really great game. It was worth the money. Good way to start the year.
It was definitely a blast to play. Like I think it's fun, the Street Fighter. Like it just is. Like if you bring it over to someone else's house and they're not really into fighting games, they'll pick it up and then they'll have fun with it by button mashing and whatever.
No, that's totally true because
This is true. I actually did that with my friend Brandy this
That's
year.
because they're all going real Mega Buster.
No, that was actually me.
I brought it over to the kids that I babysit. I brought it over to their house, and they were having a blast with it. They were all picking Gold Lightan and, claiming that the other one was cheating because they were 18 times the size of their character. So it was a really, it was a blast.
Gold Light.
I love Gold Line.
Of course you do.
What else did we get this year? Name one. 3,
Well,
2.
Yeah,
we're on a roll with
HeartGold.
with Capcom, so we might as well talk about Dead Rising 2 really quick because almost all of us that played that game, I don't think Kyle or Josh ever got it, but I know the rest of us really loved it.
I've watched Don play it.
Yeah. Don live streamed it when he first got it, and we were all just watching him and cracking up at all this stupid, ridiculous stuff you can do.
Live streaming it is the reason I got it quicker than I meant to. Like, I wanted it because it just looked like so much fun, but then I was like, I'll wait. It'll probably drop in price eventually, And then I saw Don play it on live stream, and he's on a unicycle, or not a unicycle, a tricycle.
Tricycle, yeah.
A surfbot hat, and I'm like, okay, never mind. Purchasing immediately.
Goodbye.
And leotard, yeah.
Blanca mask.
I think it's a huge improvement over the first game. I mean, I had a lot of fun with the first Dead Rising, but I never cared to beat it because I just hit a wall and I couldn't, progress. And I think pretty much everything is better in Dead Rising 2. The survivors are a lot smarter. The weapons,
Save system.
the save system is much better. Yes, multiple save slots. You can,
Combined weapons.
Yeah, the new combined weapons are really cool, and I love the fact that I just had so much more fun with it. There's all this new stuff that you can do, and I don't, obviously the combined weapons and all that stuff was new, but
Right.
I can't think of what else was new, but it was great.
Weren't there more missions and stuff to do?
My biggest thing was the survivors were smarter, and I didn't have to worry about them dying on me. I could kind of let them do their thing for a little bit.
Give them a weapon and they can fight back.
Yeah.
But the game does get hard really fast.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect game. The last act of it is kind of, in
Atrocious.
fact, the opposite of fun. But if you just play the first 2/3 of it over and over again, there's a lot of fun.
Which you do. This is one of those. Every Zelda game. Yeah, this is one of those games where they encourage you to start over as many times as possible.
Yeah.
This was a feature we didn't get to try out, but it also has co-op.
Yeah.
And that's
which is very cool.
That's definitely a plus.
Yeah, we never
always wanted that.
We never got to try co-op because all three of us that own it for a completely different console.
Yeah, it's true.
So, good job, us.
Good work there, Adamant
Yeah,
Ditto.
we are on it. We are on top of it. Maybe one day when we're big and powerful, we'll all get it shipped to us for all three consoles.
Okay, what's next?
I don't know. Somebody else. Somebody else picked.
Josh, talk about.
Since we're still on Capcom, I guess we should talk about Monster Hunter Tri. Which is this was my first Monster Hunter game, and I went in with the classic controller because that's how I play.
Man, that's how everyone plays.
Yeah. I got sucked into it. I played it for 6 hours at a time when I first got it. Just because you get 50 minutes to kill a monster, and obviously since I'm just beginning, I sucked terribly. I died 50 times on the first 3 monsters, and yeah. The online is awesome because it's free.
Yeah, and it's probably the best online
nice.
on the Wii next to Mario Kart Wii, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Rock Band has some pretty good.
Yeah, I rarely got disconnected, and when I did, it was I just have to sign back on.
I think it was a big deal for Monster Hunter to come to the Wii because I don't think anybody really expected it to, because that's mainly a Japanese series, isn't it? Isn't it really popular in Japan?
Yeah.
It is very popular over there.
Super big on the PSP.
Yeah, and that's not the Wii, so I was surprised they brought it to the Wii. Did it sell well? I hope it did. I'm not.
It's sold pretty well, I think. Solid.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's a lot of times I can find it for like $30, the bundle that comes with like the classic controller. So like that's not a good sign. But I mean, if you say it sold well, then everything Don knows is fact. So
Maybe. I could be wrong.
It had to have sold decently since I got it.
yeah, Josh got it, so it sold well.
Josh,
There you go.
buddy.
Let's end with the last Capcom game on our list. Mega Man 10 was good. Okay, there we go. Moving
Face it off.
It was.
Mega Man 10. Okay, now we're done with Capcom. Somebody mentioned something else.
HeartGold and
Gosh.
SoulSilver.
Yeah, I was just gonna say HeartGold and SoulSilver.
The game.
It
How
has
can you
been
go
said,
wrong?
HeartGold and SoulSilver.
The game of the year. What can be said that we haven't said a million times about this game?
Man,
Well-
Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver sucks so much, but
Except that would be a filthy lie.
yeah.
Okay, HeartGold and SoulSilver are definitely the best Pokemon games that have come out in a while. But and what could make them the best game? The exact same game? Well, that's actually one of the reasons.
There's so
Uh,
much
it-
new crap in there that they added. It's not even the same game. Like, they added all.
Same thing. Plus,
Yeah,
The
I know
Pokemon.
they added like islands and stuff to Fire Red and Leaf Green, but like I barely even finished Fire Red because it was it was Red again, and it's like Red is great, but I've played it many times already, and Heart Gold and Soul Silver felt like a completely fresh experience, and they just did everything right. I think it's the best Pokemon game.
I don't think
Yeah, how can you not love your
It's-
Pokemon following you?
it's not just the best Pokemon
Yeah.
game. It might be my very favorite DS game. I think we could all almost agree
Ooh.
on that.
Yeah,
And don't
Yeah,
forget,
that's just-
it came with a Pokewalker.
Yeah.
yeah. I ended up actually thinking the Pokewalker was a really cool little peripheral. I mean,
We all had so much fun with the Pokewalker.
yeah, we were camping out trying to get the steps to get a self-destructing Munchlax
got
and
two.
a flying Pikachu,
And I got a flying Pikachu.
all that good stuff.
Man, when it was going on, when it had just come out, I spent all my time walking around backstage while there was nothing going on for me to do, while we were having the Comedy of Errors on at my school,
Kyle Axe.
and yes, thank you, but
Clarify.
I ended up getting like 8,000 steps a day just because I was walking around backstage doing nothing.
Dude, that
Yeah, I took it to school with me, and would walk around between
And-
classes and stuff.
and I still only got one Munchlax.
that's nothing, man. I used to, before I got promoted on my job, I would push carts in the parking lot,
Oh.
and I would bring my Pokewalker to work. And I would come home, with 20,000 steps, and like my mind would just be blown by how many steps I was getting. like, wow, work has a purpose.
It's
Purpose
exercise.
is furthering my success in video games.
Yes, I am catching self-destructing Munchlax. That is pretty much all I.
That makes life worth
That
living,
does.
man.
Way to go, work. And then obviously it hit us hard. I mean, I've sucked in 300 hours into this game, and you could tell we have tournaments and a whole section of videos on our channel dedicated just to us
Wait.
battling in this one game.
300 hours, you amateur.
Some of us have.
I've got like 550.
I've got close to 300.
This is one of those contests where it's like golf, and I think a lower number is better here. I don't know about you guys.
No, we have to prove our nerdiness. Kyle wins.
Anyway,
HeartGold and SoulSilver.
let's talk about another game. It is.
all right, let's talk about Heart Gold.
Yes, I think we very much covered SoulSilver. Now onto HeartGold.
Okay.
It's the same game with Ho-Oh,
Don,
who I almost just called.
Don, you pick a game. You haven't picked one yet.
I don't know.
That's not a game.
I haven't heard of that game.
Yeah.
Super Scribblenauts.
Super.
Yay.
Let's talk about Super Scribblenauts.
Another vast improvement over the original.
Mm-hmm.
I remember me and Ricky having this conversation, like, before a sequel was even announced, we pretty much said, they could repackage the original Scribblenauts with D-pad controls, and I would pay $30 for it again. But, and that's what we got, but instead we got a billion more things to do in this game. The puzzles were better, there were more words, the adjectives really, really made it a lot more fun than the first one, and I was genuinely blown
And-
away by
And what we actually only discovered fairly recently is there.
The level creator?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember I made 7 freaking stages. I made 6 stages based off of individual Star Wars films, and then 1 more based off of the Indiana Jones franchise.
Because you can only hold 8.
You can only carry 8. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You can only carry 8, which is ridiculous. Rick, I think if you still have them, I would totally be happy if you uploaded them somehow.
We'll see if we can record them and put them up. Yeah, because they're fun.
Yeah.
I was shocked, though. I want to say I was shocked at how much the adjectives added to the gameplay experience, to my enjoyment of the game. I couldn't believe how much fun I had trying to come up with, instead of making a tent, I'm gonna make a
Bacon
glowing
tent?
patchwork cheese tent.
You can make a bacon Tyrannosaurus
Yeah.
Rex.
You can make a bacon anything.
I made a chocolate limo and a vanilla fence.
Chocolate rain.
And yeah, you
Or
can
a
make
naked,
rain.
rideable woman.
Yeah,
Rideable
exactly.
woman. Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how much fun the adjectives added to the experience. I saw that in the trailer and I thought, oh, that's cool. But the coolest thing is D-pad controls, and I actually think that's not the best thing about this game, which kind of blows my mind a little bit.
Everyone's going to pause their thing and try naked, rideable woman now
And if you-
because they didn't.
Nude rideable woman. Yeah.
If you make her
Nude
pregnant, she
rideable.
gives birth to a smaller nude rideable woman.
If you make a pregnant cannibalistic anything, then it has a baby and eats it.
This game is morbid.
So try that one out.
Rated T for T. No, it's E10. E10. Never mind.
The only problem with Super Scribblenauts is that it took them a whole nother game to get it 100% right. But I kind of felt like when the first one came out, it was an experiment. Like they did it on purpose. Yeah. They released it that
A
way.
successful experiment.
Yeah, they released it that way to see, okay, will the public buy into this, and what can we do to fix it? And then they took all that to heart, which a lot of companies wouldn't even do, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So props to them, props to Fifth Cell for that. And they made Super Scribblenauts, and it was a vastly superior game. I had hours of enjoyment with it, and if you haven't checked it out, you should definitely pick it up because it is one of the very best experiences you could have on the DS, and you couldn't have it anywhere else.
Especially if you didn't like the first one, I would still check out the second one because the first one I didn't even care enough to finish the game. I didn't do all the puzzles because they got really lame at the end, and they kind of get really lame at the end in Super Scribblenauts, and I still cared enough to beat them all because it's just that much more fun than the first game.
Totally. Have it. The adjective state.
You will do it. We'll do it now.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
Anyway, next game. How about can we talk about Donkey Kong Country Returns? Because holy
Oh,
crap.
yeah.
Oh, let's talk
Oh my
about
God,
Donkey
yes.
Kong Country Returns. You start, Ricky.
I just wanted to say right off the bat that I think the fact that there is something in that game that I would describe as awful, and the fact that I would still give it a 9 out of 10 says volumes about that game. Because I think the control is actually awful. I think that the shake, I think the shaking the Wiimote to roll thing is awful. I can't think of a better word to describe it. It's not implemented well, and a lot of people have complained about that, but I'm complaining about it again because it's really bad. But the level design in that game is so good, and the game is so fun and challenging that I couldn't put it down for the life of me. I was able to put up with these terrible controls because the game is just that great. And I'm not doing really a good job of selling it here, but it's absolutely one of the best platformers on the Wii.
It's one of the best
one of the best platformers
period.
ever. Yeah, it's probably the best Donkey Kong Country game besides 2.
Donkey Kong has come back with a vengeance. That is a character and a franchise that has not been treated with respect since the Nintendo 64. Ever since Rare left, Nintendo has not known what to do with Donkey Kong, and we've wanted a Donkey Kong Country. Well, okay, Jungle Beat was fun. Okay,
it was.
It's a good game. It's a really underrated game, but at the same time, bongos are ridiculous. Okay.
Yes, they are.
And it's even more ridiculous when they make a racing game on the Wii where you were supposed to use the bongos, but nope, we're going to make twisty Wii controls that don't work. Okay. The Donkey Kong series has not been treated with the respect it deserves. Okay. It was the first major Nintendo game. And then they decided, you know what, let's let Retro, who made the epic Metroid Prime games, like put Metroid back on top, back in prominence, and they did the same for Donkey Kong, and I've heard it's selling really well, and it deserves to because it's an absolutely amazing game.
It does.
And
it's fantastic.
It kicks your ass
Excellent.
every step of the way, and you have fun with it. When a game kicks your
That's the-
ass and you still want to keep playing it, it's done something right.
It's an incredibly difficult game, but it's difficult in that perfect Mega Man 9 way where even if you suck at video games, you can beat it.
That
Which
too.
I think is the perfect difficulty for a video game. Make it really tough, make it kick your ass, but make it doable for people who suck like me.
What is this, Metroid?
This is Donkey Kong Country
Donkey Kong
Returns.
Country Returns, man.
There's
Although
Are you
Metroid,
listening?
I would say, is the same way.
there's
Goodness.
a lot of things. There's some things that I could nitpick about in Donkey Kong Country. I don't like that I can't play as Diddy unless I'm player 2.
Yeah.
I don't like that, like Dixie and Funky aren't in it. I don't like the stupid rocket stages.
Tiki's.
Yeah, I don't like that K. Rool's not in it, but that's all nitpicky stuff.
That is all nitpicky stuff.
And
I don't think the controls is very nitpicky, but it doesn't ruin the game at all. Trust me.
Ricky already said
I
the
didn't
level.
think the controls were that bad.
Come on,
Yes, I'm going to be killed now.
come
but,
on. Rolling is a pain.
I mean, but I didn't think they were completely awful.
There's a lot of
They're-
times
they're
where
trying-
I died because of rolling.
Yes, I died a lot. The Donkey Kong Country games for the Super Nintendo had a flawless control scheme. The same button picked up barrels, ran, and rolled. It did all three of those things. It was like context sensitive almost. It did what you needed to do, and it was very intuitive, and it wasn't hard to understand how to do what you wanted to do. And in Donkey Kong Country Returns, I have trouble rolling when I need to. I have trouble
Pounding.
picking up barrels when I need to, because you can't just walk up to a barrel while holding the button and pick it up like you used to be able to. You have to push it next to the barrel, and that takes time getting used to. I know it's a different game. I'm not faulting it for having different controls. I'm faulting it for having bad controls.
They should have just given you the option to turn it off or use a classic controller. I don't know why
Yeah,
that
why
option
is there
wasn't
no classic controller support?
Yeah, I agree with the no classic controller thing. That
I think
should.
that since this game is selling well, I'm pretty sure they'll probably do a sequel. I don't know if it'll be on the Wii or whatever comes next, maybe even the 3DS, but I really hope that they address any and all problems, what few there are, and I hope they include
What did they call it?
Donkey Kong Country's Revenge.
Returns again.
Donkey Kong Country Returns again.
Donkey Kong Country Redemption.
All right, let's take a break because we don't want to stretch the YouTube limits too far.
We'll be back with
Yes, we
more
do.
wonderful, wonderful games. Because this has been an epic game.